yet another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover Jhaxius, Generations Jhaxius. This thing is... I get mixed emotions here because this is literally the second time we've ever gotten a Jhaxius figure, ever. And the first one was basically a Unicron that was repainted, which didn't work well. But for some reason he keeps sticking with this orange scheme. I don't understand this. I know this is G2 because of how crazy this orange is. This jet mode's not bad. It's just, to me, just isn't Jhaxius. It should have been silver. It should have been green. It should have had some yellow and some red. I mean, that's Jhaxius. If you know the comic book, you'd know this. Anyway, in the comic book strip he comes with, this isn't too bad. I mean, it really depicts what the character is. It's a newer version of him, which I don't mind the jet mode. The jet mode really works for him. I just don't particularly like the fact that he is not the proper colors. But anyway, he's really neat. I do like him. He's got some really nice glossy black going on here on these tail fins. And these nice little missile launching gimmick things here. They work pretty good. Nice little flick fire missiles is what they are. It's kind of a nice little hark back to G2 there with the flick fire. But, you know, it works really well. And they do click in really nice, and they don't really go anywhere. If you wanted the thrusters to be more concave, you just push these in. And then if you want them to stick out a little bit more, you just kind of push them out a little bit. You don't necessarily have to actually fire the missiles, but it's kind of nice. He does happen to have a couple of these little Minicon ports here that go on top. Or if you had a Minicon, you can slap it on top, which I don't particularly have any handy right now. And the nose cone here is a rubbery kind of material. I'm really not a fan of the rubbery stuff. I mean, yeah, G1 had it, but it's something about rubber material with a lot of newer figures tend to degrade over time. There's some nice little landing gear here, and it's actually really nice that you don't really see much of the robot mode underneath, which is kind of cool. Although you can see his gigantic guns that are hanging out there, but that's okay. I do like the idea that the guns actually do click on and they don't wiggle around or try to fall off or anything. So, I mean, he's put together properly. You can't complain about that at all. But it's just the colors. I mean, the colors really throw it off for me. But here's Jhaxius, like a proper figure of Jhaxius. These landing gear do fold up. This goes up into the nose cone, and then these two here will fold away. And there you go. There he is in his airplane mode. So let's transform him real quick. Here's Jhaxius in his robot mode. Obviously more orange and gray. Very cool. I don't mind him at all. He really does look cool in this robot mode. Like I said, it's just the colors that put me off. But he does have the proper head sculpt, which is very nice. There's no light piping going on here, but it's really neat to see a proper head sculpt for Jhaxius. Doesn't tend to get many of these, which is kind of fortunate that we actually got one. The other thing that I really didn't point out though is these should have been G2 logos. And something else I noticed throughout the year, you know, a little bit of prolonged time, that the Decepticon logo is trying to rub off, which, you know, it happens, I guess, with some of these figures. I would just think the tampering would have been a little better for that, especially since this other stuff doesn't move at all. So I don't know if it was like an afterthought or something. It's kind of cool that you can take his cannons and put them up on his shoulders still be able to use those. And the twin guns really kind of add a lot of G2-ness to him, considering, you know, he was pretty much the outlaw of the Decepticons. He did not follow their order. He was his own faction, pretty much, along with his little Viacon minions. It's very cool. He does have some fairly decent articulation, and he's not really a bad robot at all. I mean, he's got some pretty nice dynamic stance. I mean, that is a deep knee you can do with him, which is pretty nice, considering, you know, he can pretty much, yeah, I guess you really can't get him to toe, because, you know, he's got these A stance ankles going on here. I mean, you can stand him like this, but you can clearly tell that he doesn't really get that. So he has to hold an A stance, which is kind of crazy. I wish they would have put a little bit of an ankle tilt in there, so that way you could have moved his legs a little better. I mean, especially if you wanted them to have him do, like, you know, kick an Optimus in the face or something. I mean, we got G2 Optimus here, you know, if you wanted to try to kick him in the head, you really can't, because he doesn't have a proper stance unless he's kind of resting up against him, which is kind of funny. But, you know, that kind of gives you a bit of a size comparison too. He's not exactly a big figure, but he's actually kind of cool. Not bad. Like I said, the color scheme is what really puts me off on this guy. But anyhow, it's been Plasticon. This has been yet another G2 review, because, you know, G2 is awesome. But, you know, yeah, that's just me. Anyhow, I'll catch you guys around. Peace out. Jhaxius can be yours for the low cost of $20.